Hey there. It's May 17th and time for Proverbs 17. Eh, I like to call this the Thanksgiving chapter because it deals a lot with that kind of thing. Okay, verse 1. Better is dry crust with peace and quiet than a house full of feasting with strife. Whereas where many sacrifices, there were many portions given to the people wherewith they feasted. Right. It always makes me think Thanksgiving, okay? I mean, it's just family members, people you only see once or twice a year. And they all get together and there's a bunch of strife and they're arguing over politics and sports and my kid's better than your kid. And, it's just, sometimes it's better to just stay home and avoid all that, right? 2, a wise servant will rule over a disgraceful son and will share the inheritance with the brothers. Mm, that's- That is, shall be made governor over the children. Mm, Not a lot of servants these days, huh? Okay, 3 is important. A crucible for silver and a furnace for gold, but Adonai tests the heart. Okay? Oh. I always talk about this. I did work in the foundry industry for a while. You melt down metals, and when you melt down any kind of metal, silver, gold, iron, you know, all the impurities always float to the top, and then you could scrape those off, and you could throw those away and be left with pure silver, pure gold, pure iron, whatever. It says the Lord does that with the hearts. Okay? Is it a painful process? It can be, but if you ask the Lord to purify your heart, He will do that. And it is it's a necessary process, right? But it can be painful to melt something into a liquid and scrape all the bad stuff off and then form a new heart with it, right? Think about that. For an evildoer listens to wicked lips, a liar to a malicious tongue. This is true. They all stick together, don't they? Okay, we've already read this in previous chapters. Whoever mocks the poor insults his maker, capital M. Whoever rejoices at calamity will not go unpunished, right? Jesus said, love your enemies. Okay? It says elsewhere in Proverbs that if you celebrate and laugh and mock and rejoice at calamity when your enemy's full, or just when people are down on their luck and you laugh at them, you will not go unpunished, right? Because whoever mocks the poor insults his maker. God. Okay? These people are down on their luck, having a hard time, and you're laughing at them, rejoicing, mocking them. You will not go unpunished. Okay? It's important to realize that. Okay, 6, grandchildren are the crown of the elderly, and the glory of children is their parents. The glory of children is their parents, or are their fathers, it says over here. Right? Children. It says grandchildren and children now. My kids have kids of their own, okay? And my son loves to show me off to his little daughter, my granddaughter, right? It's fun to watch. 7, arrogant lips are not fitting for a fool, much less lying lips for a ruler. High talk becometh not a fool, it says over here. Lip of excellency, arrogant lips. Lots of these out there, huh? A bribe is a charm in the eyes of its owner. Wherever he turns, he succeeds. Right. The lobbyists, okay? Bribers. They have their money, right? And get what they want because they're paying somebody to, and they wouldn't have to pay them unless they were voting on something or ruling against something that goes against what they naturally believe. Okay. If they already believe the way this lobbyist or person is trying to sway them, they wouldn't have to give them money. They already believe that. But if their constituents clearly want one thing, and he knows that, and he would vote for that one thing, but this briber gives them a bunch of money to vote the other way, right? That is a charm in the eyes of its owner. And they'll talk about that more later on in the chapter, too. 9, whoever covers up an offense seeks love, and whoever repeats a matter separates close friends. Okay, that's gossip. Okay. That is gossip. Right? Covers up a matter, right? Or that's Jacob, Peter. Right? Somebody does something to you, you cover it up, overlook it, forgive them, right? You're seeking love. If you go talking about it, you know what so-and-so did? Okay. Separating close friends. You're tearing apart relationships. Gossip. Okay, 10. A rebuke makes a greater impression on a discerning person than 100 lashes on a fool. Okay. Person of discerning, understanding, knowledge. Okay, they take these things to heart. Fools don't. 11. An evil man seeks only rebellion, and so a cruel messenger will be sent against him. Right. What's this over here for a message? By the messenger is meant such means as God uses to punish the rebels. Cruel messenger will be sent against them. Somebody to teach them a lesson, right? 12. Better to meet a bear robbed of her cubs than to deal with a fool in his folly or foolishness, right? Fool in his folly. Whereby he meaneth the wicked in his rage, who hath no fear of God. Fool in his foolishness, right? And if you know anything about bears, are 9 or 10 feet tall and they have like 6-inch claws, and you really don't want to take their kids away from them, okay? Right? Solomon says it's more dangerous. It's better to deal with a bear than it is to deal with fools in their foolishness. Okay? You see, some years ago, they were burning down cities and businesses and killing people, and for really no reason, okay? Okay, 13, whoever rewards evil for good, evil will never leave his house. Okay? Somebody does something nice for you and you do something evil in return, evil will never leave your house. Remember that. Okay? The beginning of strife is like letting out water, so stop a quarrel before it breaks out. Yeah. I should add this to chapter 15, right? 15 and talks a lot about quarreling and arguing, and 16 did too in the latter half, right? I should put all these together, and you will get a very good idea of how to argue or not argue or quarrel, right? Effectively. Beginning of strife is like letting out water. 15, acquitting the wicked and condemning the righteous, both are an abomination to Adonai. Do you think that's going on right now? You don't have to look far to find out, right? Right? Wicked people are being acquitted, right? Not going to jail for murder and rape and just horrible things, right? And the righteous, right? There's a lady in Colorado who is in prison for praying in America. It doesn't even sound like it should be legal, right? But there it is. happens. 16. Of what use is money in the hand of a fool, since he has no intention of acquiring wisdom? Don't know. Wherefore there is a price in the hand of the fool to get wisdom. What availeth in the wicked to be rich, seeing he setteth his mind to wisdom? That makes it more confusing, huh? What use is money in the hand of a fool, since he has no intention of acquiring wisdom? Right? They're going to buy beer and drugs and other stuff. 17. A friend loves at all times, and a brother is born for adversity. There's a note over here for that. So that he is more than a friend, even a brother that helpeth in time of adversity. Right? Now, this doesn't have to mean your brother, both share the same parents. This could be somebody who sticks with you no matter what, right? 18. A man lacking judgment shakes hands on a deal and puts up financial security for his neighbor, right? He's talking about co-signing, okay? Solomon was very much against co-signing because you're putting your good name and your finances and your home and everything else up to somebody you don't even know, okay? You know the person you're co-signing for, but you don't know the people that he's borrowing money from. You stay out of that. 19. He who loves sin loves strife. One who builds a high gate invites destruction. See a lot of people do that, huh? You build high gates and palaces. People on the outside think there's something in there worth stealing. Right? 20. A perverse heart finds nothing good. A devious tongue falls into trouble. Actually, you know people like that, right? They're all over social media. 21. Whoever fathers a fool gets grief. There is no joy for the father of a disgraceful son. Yeah. I think about these people out there doing stupid stuff and wondering what their parents must think, right? Hiding. It's another one of my grandmother's favorite verses. A cheerful heart is good medicine, but a crushed spirit dries up the bones. Now, we have a spirit. God has a spirit. We are made in the image of God, right? We have body, soul, spirit. God uses the human spirit as a light to look into our souls with our hearts. If you crush a person's spirit, that's the hardest thing to recover from, okay? Many homeless people are there because they have a crushed spirit, okay? Happens when you lose all hope, okay? And if you get some of their stories, they're not there because they're lazy, because they're drug addicts. Many of them are there because they lost their entire family in an accident. Some drunk driver plowed into their car and killed their wife and their children, right? And their spirit has been crushed. And they don't even want to hope. They lost all hope. So they just sit there. Okay? Dries up the bones. See, here's more. I said we get back to this, right? The wicked one receives a bribe in secret to pervert the ways of justice. Okay? We're up here. A bribe is a charm in the eyes of its owner. Wherever it turns, he succeeds. Who receives a bribe in secret? Wicked people. Crooked politicians. And you know what? You can look at them and just tell which ones are crooked, okay? You don't make, $2 million a year on a $174,000 salary. It just does not happen, okay? It does not happen. But it's happening, okay? Big companies and big people are paying off politicians so they can keep being big companies, and right? Perverts the ways of justice. Okay? It would be so easy just to make lobbying illegal, right? And put them in jail for lobbying. But the people who make those rules, or at least vote on those rules, are the ones that are getting the bribes. So it's likely not going to happen anytime soon. I just look at all that stuff and say, yes, Revelation is true, and it is happening right before our eyes, right? We need to be ready because Jesus is coming back. Okay. 24, wisdom is before the person of understanding, but the eyes of a fool are on the ends of the earth. Person of understanding, wisdom's right there. That's the Bible. It's right there, right in front of you. Right? The eyes of a fool are on the ends of the earth. Someday I'm going to win the lottery. Right? Till then, I'm going to do nothing. Right? End of the earth. 25. A foolish son is grief to his father, and bitterness to her that bore him. Right? Look at them out there. There used to be just a few, but now there's more than ever before. Right? 26. Also, to punish a righteous person is not good, nor to beat up an honorable one who, for his integrity. Some people do, these evil people. They would beat up a good, righteous person just for being good and righteous, right? And call them names. When I was young, it would be, you're a goody two-shoes. Because I love the Lord. I mean, okay, whatever. Hey, 27. One with knowledge restrains his words, and a discerning person stays calm, right? Now, it says all over, and I say it often myself, part of being wise is keeping your mouth shut, okay? Even when somebody's grievously wrong and you want to correct them, sometimes it's better just to keep your mouth shut, okay? And a discerning person stays calm, doesn't get angry over all this stupid stuff going on, right? 28, even a fool who keeps quiet is considered wise, discerning if he seals his lips. Right? If you're a fool and you want to be thought wise, keep your mouth shut most of the time. Right? There you go. That's Proverbs 17. Lots of good stuff in here. We'll go over the highlights. Crucible is for silver and the furnace is for gold, but Adonai tests the heart. When he talks about the heart, Jesus talks about the heart, okay? Being corrupt. Out of your heart is what flows out of your mouth, good or bad, okay? You know if you have an evil heart or a pure heart by the things that flow out of your mouth, okay? Fruit of the Spirit. Mm-hmm. And if you read the Bible enough, you can know that God can purify your heart. And it's a process, stuff that has to be learned, stuff that has to be unlearned, okay? But in the end, the person you become is 1,000 times better than the person you were. Okay? A5 is highlighted. Whoever mocks the poor insults his maker. Whoever rejoices at calamity will not go unpunished. Right? You see the poor, you see the destitute. If you laugh at them, right? If you mock them, if you rejoice at their calamity, right? Oh, I'm sorry your house burned down. Ha, 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 right? You will not go unpunished. Okay? Because you are insulting God himself. Right? Think about that. Okay. 8, a bribe is a charm in the eyes of its owner. Wherever he turns, he succeeds. A bribe is a charm in the eyes of its owner. Right? Person making the bribe. gets his way because he's throwing money around. Now let's jump down here to 23. The wicked one receives a bribe in secret to pervert the ways of justice. All right? Same chapter. A bribe is a charm in the eyes of its owner. Right? They get their way. Do you think the pharmaceutical industry is so incredibly large? This is the reason right here. Okay? They throw money around the government and bribe people and get their way. 9 is highlighted. Whoever covers up an offense seeks love, and whoever repeats a matter separates close friends. Right? Somebody does something wrong to you, you need to cover it up. Right? Seek love. Forgive. Okay? If you repeat a matter, if you spread gossip, but so-and-so did so-and-so to so-and-so, right? Separates close friends, right? Separated the prince, it says over here. He that admonisheth the prince of his fault maketh him his enemy. Right? Yeah, there's that. 12. Better to meet a bear robbed of her cubs than to deal with a fool in his folly. What do you do when you see those protesters carrying signs and doing stuff? You leave, okay? You just keep walking. Leave. Because you know what? With protesters or screamers, right? If there's nobody there to listen to them, most times they just go away, okay? How do you deal with them? You deal with them by not dealing with them. Mm. Okay, 14 is highlighted. The beginning of strife is like letting out water to stop. So stop a quarrel before it breaks out. Got that? I mean, sometimes you just want to get away from that person if they're just having a bad day. Okay, we'll say it. They're just having a bad day. Okay. 15, acquitting the wicked and condemning the righteous, both are an abomination to Adonai. We see that going on, especially now, right? It seems like, right, there's a division of government that is corrupt, letting out all the evil people while incarcerating all the good people. Okay? Both are an abomination to Adonai. 22 is highlighted. A cheerful heart is good medicine, right? But a crushed spirit dries up the bones. Okay? We talked about that. Crushing one's spirit. And we talked about 23, the bribes. 27 is important. One with knowledge restrains his words, and a discerning person stays. Keep your mouth shut most of the time, right? That's an overriding theme of all of Proverbs, just to keep your mouth shut. Read the Bible, right? So there you go. That's 17. See where we're at on our through the New Testament in a year on our afternoon study. And we're finishing up John chapter 5, right? John chapter 5. So there you go. Give us a like if you think about it. And this afternoon we'll continue, and we'll see you again tomorrow.